It is scary to think that you could marry somebody who seems really great right now, and then as you get into a marriage, you find out that they are an abuser. In the past couple of years, I have talked to several ladies who ended up in marriages with some extremely cruel men. There are some things that they say, if I had recognized that for what it was while I was dating them, I would have never gotten in this marriage. And those are the things that I want to share with you today. Let's just head into it. If you are dating a guy who, let's just say you said, I don't want to kiss before I get married. I don't want to have a physical relationship or have sex before we get married. And the guy continually pushes those boundaries. You need to recognize that he is very self-interested, and what his desires are more important than your own boundaries. And so that is just a sign that later on in life, if you try to establish any form of boundary, he will not respect it or respect you. Now, I will say this, maybe you didn't say that you set that boundary, but he's going to come around and say, you know what, if you don't have sex with me, we're just going to break up. This is not working out for me. This is what I want in a relationship. And so essentially, you might not have set a boundary, but he is manipulating you and controlling you against just a recognized societal standard. And he is saying, this is what I want, and I'm going to kind of extortion. He uses extortion or threats to get what he wants, and it doesn't matter what level of threat that he uses. If he tries to control you by threats, that is the key thing that you need to recognize. The next area that you need to watch out for is brooding, and this is just a classic form of passive aggressive manipulation. It's not, I don't want you to just take everything that looks like that and say, oh, you're a brooding manipulator, because there are sincere times when men have to face disappointments, and it just takes them a little bit of time to regroup. And so they will kind of brood or be sad until they deal with it on their own. I'm talking about somebody who, when you say, no, I don't really want to do this, or I would rather do that, they go into this extreme, I don't know any other word for it besides brooding, where they seem sullen and angry, or maybe they will start going into things of, well, I'm just going to kill myself because you know, this is how this is, or those really dark thoughts and expressions that will make you feel guilty for even expressing something that was different than what they wanted. You know, you are constantly there to ease their feelings and placate them, so that you, the wonderful person that you are, you can lift them out of their mood by the way that only you can, and it's this controlling aspect of making you feel like you're special. But if you don't do those things that make them lift out of their mood, then you're the bad guy, and you're the one who put them there, and you're the one who's making them feel that way, and you're the one who's going to be guilty for anything that they do while they're in that brooding mindset. They manipulate you through their demeanor to do whatever it is that they want, so that they'll be happy all over again because you gave them their way. The next one is anger, outbursts of anger, saying cruel things to you, lashing out verbally with maybe there's going to be a tug or a pull or a shove or a slap or yanking at your hair or grabbing you firmly, or maybe they just say the most awful things to you, or maybe they don't even do that about you or to you, but you see them manifest that same aggression towards somebody else. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a relative, a little sister, a little brother, a parent, a wall. If somebody's punching a wall or slamming their doors, they do not have any control over their anger. And you will become the target of that anger when you cross them. Because anger only grows and grows. Make not friends with an angry man lest they'll learn their ways and be like them. But also, if they haven't had to deal with the consequences of their anger, and the Bible talks about the parent who just keeps saving that person who's angry and keeps bringing them out of the situation and rescuing them from their consequences, it says they're going to have to do it over and over and over and over again for the rest of their life. And so until that person repents of their anger and deals with it on their own, it is not your job to fix them. Because what happens is you'll get trapped in that cycle, and maybe you'll become the good guy again, like in the brooding situation where you're the one who just makes them feel so much better, and I'm so glad that you did this, and baby, you're just wonderful, and oh, I'm so sorry that I did that, and you know baby, I don't mean to do that, and it was just I was so angry. No. You separate yourself from them, because especially this one lady I know, she grew up in an angry family, and so she didn't recognize that for what it was, and she ended up in that relationship, and what kind of was kept at bay in her family, even though the anger and the manipulation and the brooding was there, it went to the next level in the marriage, and she was the sole brunt of that offense. Recognize it for what it is. If it happens once, okay. If it happens twice, you should confront them about it. If it happens 3 times, stay away from that person. Honest people have nothing to hide, and they have nothing to be afraid of. For me, this does relate to the topic, but for me, when I am talking to my children about the Bible, I encourage them. I say, okay, you go look at evolution and compare it with creation and see which one has more scientific evidence. Or go ahead and look at the archaeological evidence for this type of denomination or religion, and then go look at the Bible, evidence that demands a verdict, more than a carpenter. Go read those books and compare the two, because I am fully confident that the evidence and the truth will rise to the top. The same thing when it comes to different Bible manuscripts. I'm a King James Version user, and my husband taught manuscript evidence. There's so much to support the Textus Receptus and the English version, the King James Version. I am confident in what I believe, because those who seek the truth will find it, and it will rise to the top. And so I don't feel the need to control the information outside of just normal wisdom. I'm not going to throw gross, sinful things at my child. But I'm not going to try to control the information that they receive, because I'm not intimidated by lies. But a controlling person is intimidated by the fellowship of other people in your life. And what they will try to do is block out somebody who might be sane and who might recognize that the controller for who they are. What they will start to do is limit your friendships, or try to alienate you from your parents or from your friends, or maybe even from having any male friends besides them, because it's intimidating, and it might come off as this really flattering jealousy of oh no, I don't want you hanging out with those guys, because baby, you're mine, and I love you, and you don't need them, and we have something that is so special. But then it kind of comes to, well, your parents don't understand, and your friends, they don't understand who we are, and don't listen to them. They don't know the real me. You know the real me. So let's just stay together, and you will see that the controlling person has few true friends, few long-term friends, because it has been proven that an abuser or a sociopath or whatever term you want to call them, they can't keep up the act for longer than a year. They will reveal themselves for who they are in one form or another. And so I would encourage you to never marry somebody if you haven't known them in an investigative or a purposeful way for at least a year. But be guarded as to how jealous they are, or how controlling they are. Mind control, information, content control. Are you allowed to read a blog about the signs of an abuser? Or are they upset because, well, why would you even think that about me? Why are you even looking that up? You know, get rid of that trash. Because they're intimidated. Somebody who is not abusive doesn't care if you read something because they're comfortable in who they are. They have no need for content control. The next level is what we often think of when we refer to violence or abusers, and that is that physical cruelty. And while a person you're dating might not at first be physically aggressive towards you, you can look and see, has somebody in their life said, man, they're really mean to animals. They're really cruel and take pleasure in torturing things, torturing cats, you know, the Bible says that a wise man will regard the life of his beast. God talks about that level of empathy and humanity that just comes from a good person, that when you're hunting and you kill an animal, you're not excited that they're tortured and their life and their death process has been prolonged. You want to do the job, get it done, as little as suffering as possible, and you move on with the hunting process. There's no joy or satisfaction in the suffering of others. But the cruel or violent person tends to feed on these things. And it doesn't matter if it's the tiniest little area of their life. If you have heard somebody say about them or seen them manifest the joy of watching something suffer, run. Run as far as you can, because you will be that something that suffers. And in that regard, I would be extremely cautious of somebody who feeds on pornography, because pornography is a dark lust that literally darkens the front part of your brain. It will darken your mind, and it's an addiction, and girls as well as guys, they get involved in it, and the endorphins and the high, but what it does is it darkens a person and it depraves them. And pornography has a progression that depraves people and brings them farther and farther and farther down, to where at the end of it you get to there and you say, you know, even this doesn't satisfy me. And it will take you to that dark, violent place where cruelty happens. Be on guard. Is this something about which somebody's ashamed and repentant? Or is it something that is just a part of their life? Because it is such a dark addiction that, generally speaking, this controller, this cruelty seeker, this person who engages in the suffering of others will choose it over you and will make you become the object of suffering. This last one is so extremely subtle, and yet it means so much. And that is where, when somebody praises you, this person takes the effort to put you back in your place, to remind you that you're not as good as this person thinks you are, to remind you how lucky you are to be with them, and reminding you how nobody else would want you if they knew you, and how you are worthless, and how this person who thought you're pretty is just saying that to get something from you. They're always there to put you under them. This kind of goes back with that content control, is that if they can control you and keep their lies in your mind, you will be in their grasp, in their grip. And this goes with the jealousy aspect of it. If you said, it was really nice that so-and-so said that I was pretty, and they're like, who? Who said that? Who do they think they are telling you that? My girl, I'm going to go get them. And so then you feel afraid for that person. So then you no longer bring up people who might say nice things to you, or maybe even you stop hanging around the people who say nice things to you because you're fearful for them, because your boyfriend might go after them, and then you would feel guilty like it was your fault. And of course he would make you feel like it's your fault. But do you see what I'm saying? That whenever somebody praises you, they make sure to put you in your place. Now I want to talk about, what do you do if you are trapped in this situation? Obviously, if you are not married, run as far as you can. But statistically, when somebody is getting out of an abusive situation, whether it has manifested itself physically at that point, or if it is still just that mental passive control, that is the greatest time for violence to happen, or murders to happen. It is a delicate situation, and it's scary. And the best thing I can first tell you is to try to get some control over your own mind. Start feeding on truth. Start feeding on the Bible as to what is a righteous man and what is a froward man and what is good and what is evil, and begin to develop your own thought, because it is your strength of mind that helps you to see abuse for what it is. It is the strength of understanding that Christ loves you for who you are, and that you have value in Him, and that no matter what you partook in with this person or with some other person, that God can make you, or has made you, a new creature through salvation, and that you're as white as snow, and that He loves you and He cherishes you as His own personal child, which is hard to understand if maybe you don't have a good relationship with your family. And that's where you have to try to feed on truth and try to meet people who understand what true love is, and that can try to explain to you what goodness and encouragement and independent thought. And God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And that as you invest your time in prayer with the Lord, that He promises He will lead you and guide you and give you that sound mind and the peace that passeth all understanding. Before you can take those steps, or maybe simultaneously as you're taking those steps to separate yourself and get yourself into a place of safety, make sure you're getting in your Bible and praying, especially, and asking for the Lord's safety and the Lord's strength of mind and the truth of the Bible, and really, really ingesting your time in prayer with God, who can control things and do for us abundantly above all that we can ask or think. And then I would encourage you to, again, go to the police, go to the authorities, because sometimes even our parents can't see it, or our parents don't know how to deal with it. If you have wise, loving parents who have cautioned you against this person, absolutely utilize them. Say, you know what, you were right, I really need help. They love you. They will help you get out of that situation. Maybe you have a friend who's been trying to warn you about this person, who sees them for what they are. Utilize those friendships. Go stay at their house. Get away from the situation and seek the police so that they can help protect you as best as they can. They deal with these situations all the time. They are your friend. My advice to you is, first and foremost, work on strengthening your mind in truth, to develop thoughts so that you can see the lies and their control for what it is. Second of all, seek help from somebody that you do know loves you, and somebody you do know can recognize what a healthy relationship is. And 3, reach out to the authorities so that they can protect you in any transitional situation. And if you have not gotten in a dating relationship with somebody like this, keep these in mind so that you can save yourself a whole bunch of hurt and damage in the future.